What if I told you Meghan Markle just faced the most humiliating moment of her so-called Hollywood comeback? Cameras at Balenciaga's post-Paris Fashion Week show caught the Duchess of Drama herself trying to charm British acting royalty, Dame Kristen Scott Thomas. But the interaction went from royal to rejected in under 5 seconds. Meghan smiled, reached out, tried to start a conversation. And Kristen didn't just ignore her, she turned her head and pretended she didn't exist. That's right, the silence was louder than Meghan's entire PR machine. So what really happened in that awkward viral moment? Let's dig in. Paris Fashion Week had just wrapped up, and the glittering after-parties were crawling with designers, movie stars, and influencers desperate for a shot at the flashbulbs. But no one was hungrier for a moment than Meghan Markle. Dressed in what tabloids are already calling her Balenciaga blender outfit, a dramatic black cape and oversized sunglasses inside a dimly lit room, Meghan arrived ready to reclaim her lost crown. According to onlookers, she wasn't just attending the Balenciaga show. She was performing at it. Every step was calculated, every smile rehearsed, every head tilt camera ready. It was the Meghan Markle Redemption Tour, sponsored by Desperation and Dear Perfume. But here's where it gets messy, because when Meghan locked eyes on Dame Kristen Scott Thomas, the living definition of British grace and old money composure, she decided to make her move. Witnesses say Meghan approached with that signature Hollywood smile, you know? The one that says, "I'm about to tell you how famous I am." Cameras were rolling, flashes popping, and Meghan leaned in to greet Kristen. Only for Kristen to turn her head away. No handshake, no smile, no acknowledgement, just silence. It was the social equivalent of a public execution, and Meghan's face said it all. That 5-second clip is now circulating online with captions like "The Duchess meets reality" and "Balenciaga says no to drama." And let's be real, this wasn't just an awkward moment. This was symbolic. Kristen Scott Thomas isn't just anyone in that crowd. She's an Oscar-nominated actress, a British icon, and a woman who's been part of the elite social circles Meghan once desperately wanted to infiltrate. When Kristen ignored Meghan, it wasn't personal, it was political. The message was loud and clear. Hollywood's elite, and especially Europe's old guard crowd, are done playing along with Meghan's self-made fairy tale. According to an anonymous source seated near the front row, or as I like to call them, the real royal reporter, Meghan had been seen whispering to her publicist minutes before the incident, allegedly saying, "Make sure the cameras catch this." She wanted this moment. She wanted the reunion, the headline, the viral clip that said, "Meghan Markle back where she belongs." But instead, she got a viral embarrassment, a clip replayed millions of times across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube with brutal commentary. One user wrote, "She flew to Paris for attention and got ghosted instead." Another added, "That's what happens when you mistake fame for respect. It's almost poetic, isn't it?" The same Meghan who once walked beside Queen Elizabeth now finds herself standing awkwardly at a fashion show, clutching her Balenciaga purse like it's a lifeline while the true social elite turn away. Meghan tried to laugh it off. You can see her smile twitch in the video, that split-second shift from confident to crushed. But the damage was done. Inside sources claim that after the event, Meghan stormed backstage, demanding to know why the clip wasn't being managed or controlled. Yes, apparently she thought she could manage reality. One stylist overheard her saying, "This wasn't supposed to happen. I'm here to be seen, not humiliated," to which, honestly, the internet replied, "Too late." And you can bet that moment sent shockwaves back to Montecito. Reportedly, even Prince Harry was blindsided when the clip hit TMZ. Sources close to the couple claim he didn't understand why Meghan keeps chasing these appearances when they'd agreed to step back from the spot. But Meghan, as one insider dramatically put it, believes her star is still rising. The world just hasn't caught up yet. Here's the twist though, according to multiple reports, Kristen Scott Thomas wasn't even supposed to interact with Meghan. Their seating arrangements were changed last minute after Balenciaga's PR team allegedly expressed concerns about unwanted media attention. Translation? They didn't want Meghan hijacking the show's headlines like she always does. Remember when she attended Beyoncé's concert and somehow made the night about her outfit? Or when she appeared at the Invictus Games and every news outlet talked about her D-word jacket instead of the athletes? Yeah, Balenciaga wasn't taking that risk. So, well, Meghan thought this was her grand reintroduction to the fashion elite. The fashion elite had already decided she's not one of us. That's the real sting here. It's not about being ignored, it's about being excluded. Meghan wanted to prove she could stand beside Hollywood's finest, Europe's most refined, and royalty's most respected. Instead, she ended up proving that fame doesn't buy class and PR doesn't buy respect. And of course, the memes rolled in faster than Meghan's next podcast pitch. One viral tweet read, "Kristen Scott Thomas just ended Meghan's influencer era with a single head turn." Another compared Meghan's awkward smile to a Wi-Fi connection struggling to hold. Brutal? Yes. Deserved? The internet seems to think so. Still, Meghan's camp wasn't about to let it go that easily. Within hours, her team reportedly contacted several tabloids to clarify the context, a statement allegedly read. The Duchess of Sussex enjoyed a warm and inspiring evening celebrating fashion and empowerment. Yeah, except the video shows her standing alone, clutching her clutch, while Kristen keeps chatting to literally everyone else. That's when the narrative began to spin. Meghan's supporters started saying Kristen was being snobbish, elitist, and disrespectful to women of color, but others quickly clapped back. Maybe it's not about color. Maybe it's about character, and that's where this story truly exploded, not just as a viral awkward moment, but as a full-blown cultural debate. Was Meghan snubbed because she's an outsider, or because people are tired of her constant attempts to play the victim? The internet couldn't agree, but one thing was clear. Meghan Markle's comeback attempt at Balenciaga didn't just flop, it face-planted in high heels. Meghan's team was already in full damage control mode. They knew this wasn't just another awkward public moment. This was a PR disaster dressed in couture. The clip had spread like wildfire, trending across X, TikTok, and YouTube under the hashtag #BALENCIAGA snub. And what made it worse? Every frame told a story Meghan didn't want the world to see. The Duchess, once the darling of global press, standing alone while the elite literally turned their backs, according to an alleged Balenciaga insider. Meghan thought her appearance would be the headline, but the brand didn't want the circus. They wanted fashion, not drama. Translation? Meghan wasn't the main event. She was the uninvited plot twist. And when you think about it, that's become her Hollywood identity, the woman who shows up, steals the spotlight, then acts shocked when people call her out. Sources close to the situation claim Meghan's reaction backstage was volcanic. She reportedly demanded her PR team to fix this before it spirals, insisting that the clip be flagged on social platforms for misleading context. But come on, it's hard to mislead when the evidence is crystal clear on camera. Kristen didn't just ignore her, she erased her, socially speaking. Meanwhile, other attendees began whispering about the incident. A French journalist later told Le Monde magazine it was uncomfortable to watch. Meghan came in like she was still a royal, but the crowd treated her like an influencer. That one line went viral across British tabloids. Suddenly, the story wasn't about fashion anymore. It was about status. Was Meghan Markle still relevant? Or had she finally lost her grip on the fame game she fought so hard to control? And this wasn't Meghan's first brush with social humiliation. Let's rewind. Remember the 2023 Variety Gala? Meghan walked the red carpet in a gold gown, expecting to be the centerpiece. Yet she was seated 3 tables away from the main stage, next to mid-level producers, while A-listers like Meryl Streep and Oprah occupied the front. At the time, Meghan brushed it off, claiming she enjoyed meeting new creatives, but insiders whispered that she was fuming backstage. Sound familiar? Fast forward to the Balenciaga show, and it's the same story, different designer. Meghan was trying to show the world she belonged in Parisian high society, but the society in question wasn't interested in playing along. Reports suggest Balenciaga's organizers were aware Meghan would attend, but deliberately kept her out of the VIP photo lineup to avoid overshadowing the brand. That means while Kim Kardashian, Naomi Campbell, and Nicole Kidman were seated front and center, Meghan was quietly positioned to Rose's back, just visible enough for the cameras to spot, but not important enough to feature. That, my friends, is a PR dagger disguised as courtesy. And yet, Meghan didn't seem to get the memo. She arrived late, surrounded by bodyguards, flashing that familiar rehearsed smile, the same one she used at royal events before the fallout. She was trying to make a grand entrance, one attendee said, but by that time, everyone was already focused on the runway, another witness added. She waved to people who weren't even looking her way as the clip of Kristen Scott Thomas went viral. The internet did what it does best, turned awkwardness into art. Memes flooded the timeline. One showed Meghan's face with the caption, "When the main character moment gets cancelled mid-scene." Another compared Kristen's snub to the ice-cold British politeness Meghan once claimed she escaped. Even celebrity commentators jumped in. British journalist Piers Morgan, because of course, he couldn't resist, tweeted, "You can take Meghan Markle out of the palace, but you can't take the attention-seeking out of Meghan Markle." Others were more sympathetic, suggesting that maybe Meghan didn't deserve the cold shoulder. But even those voices were drowned out by the larger narrative that Meghan had officially become Hollywood's most awkward gatecrasher. Behind the scenes, though, whispers suggest that Meghan's team had been pushing hard to secure her place at Balenciaga for weeks. Sources claim her stylist had contacted the brand multiple times, requesting an exclusive look and front row seating, hinting that Meghan's presence would bring global attention. But the brand wasn't biting. They reportedly offered her a mid-tier seat, the same kind given to influencers, a far cry from the royal treatment Meghan believed she still deserved. To make matters worse, insiders allege that Meghan's wardrobe for the event wasn't even Balenciaga. It was an off-label piece altered to look like Balenciaga, hoping the brand would embrace her after the fact. When the truth came out, it only deepened the humiliation. One anonymous stylist spilled, "She wanted the prestige without the partnership. That's not how Paris works," and the irony. Kristen Scott Thomas has been a longtime supporter of royal charities and was once personally commended by King Charles for her contributions to the arts. Which means the moment wasn't just awkward, it was symbolic. Kristen represented the establishment Meghan tried to escape and outshine. So, when she turned her head, it wasn't just a snub. It was history coming full circle. Meanwhile, social media sleuths began dissecting every frame of that viral clip. Look at Meghan's smile fade at the 2-second mark. One user posted, "That's the moment she realized she's not the main character anymore." Another commented, "You can almost hear the ego cracking," and, while the internet laughed, Meghan's Hollywood allies stayed silent. No public support, no celebrity statements, just silence. The kind of silence that speaks volumes. Because when Hollywood goes quiet about you, it's not because they don't care, it's because they've already moved on. But Meghan, ever the strategist, wasn't about to let this define her. Sources say within 48 hours, she called a private meeting with her team to refocus her brand narrative. Translation, time to spin. Rumor has it, she's planning an emotional sit-down interview, maybe with Oprah, maybe with a glossy fashion magazine, to talk about resilience, reinvention, and female empowerment, the usual buzzwords. But for the public, it's starting to sound like a broken record. And as all this played out, one thing became clear. Meghan's comeback plan wasn't just crumbling. It was collapsing under its own weight. By the time the third wave of headlines hit, Meghan's PR machine had gone from panic mode to full-blown meltdown. Every tabloid from London to Los Angeles was plastered with the same humiliating still frame, Meghan, mid-smile, arm half-raised, while Dame Kristen Scott Thomas looked the other way as if she'd just seen a ghost she wanted to forget. That single image became the visual metaphor of Meghan's post-royal life. Always reaching, never received. Balenciaga's silence didn't help. When reporters reached out for comment about the incident, the fashion house declined to respond, which only fueled speculation. In Hollywood terms, silence is confirmation. They knew what they were doing, one PR insider claimed. Balenciaga thrives on calculated chaos, and Meghan became the distraction they didn't need within days. The brand quietly removed all traces of Meghan from their event highlights reel, even cropping her out of the official backstage group photo. Brutal. Meanwhile, the social media commentary grew nastier. Influencers began using hashtag #MeghanMoment as slang for trying too hard to belong. Late-night talk shows couldn't resist. One comedian joked, even the mannequins at Balenciaga had more chemistry with Kristen Scott Thomas. The crowd howled. Meghan's Hollywood image, once polished and powerful, was now meme material, but behind the cameras, the story was even messier. Reports began surfacing that Meghan's Paris appearance wasn't entirely spontaneous. Allegedly, her team had pitched the idea to multiple designers ahead of Fashion Week, framing it as her official re-entry into global elite culture. Only one brand bit, Balenciaga, and even then, reluctantly. They were hesitant, said one fashion executive, because Meghan doesn't just attend events. She consumes them. That hesitation, apparently, was justified. And remember that seat placement drama? It got worse. Several sources later claimed that Meghan was regionally slotted next to Anna Wintour. Yes, the Anna Wintour, but at the last minute. Balenciaga moved her 2 rows back to make space for a French philanthropist and her entourage. That decision reportedly infuriated Meghan, who was overheard backstage saying, "They're treating me like a YouTuber, not a global figure." Someone should have told her that in 2025. YouTubers are global figures. Then came the lip reader videos. Fans slowed down the viral clip to catch what Kristen might have said under her breath. Some claimed she muttered, "Not today." Others insisted it was, "Oh dear, not her again." Whether true or not, the myth became its own truth online. The idea that an Oscar-nominated British actress had publicly dismissed Meghan with royal-level shade was too delicious for the internet to resist. And this is where things took an even darker turn, because just as Meghan's humiliation hit peak virality, rumors began swirling that Prince Harry wasn't thrilled either. "He's embarrassed," one alleged friend told a UK outlet. He thought Meghan's focus was on philanthropy, not posing at Fashion Week. Another insider added, "Harry feels like they've lost control of the narrative. Every time Meghan tries to reinvent herself, it backfires harder." Ouch. Ouch. It didn't help that Meghan's past controversies resurfaced. Old interviews, awkward red carpet moments, and those infamous podcast soundbites where she criticized royal life all suddenly recirculated, painting her as a woman desperate for attention yet allergic to accountability. It's as if the internet collectively decided to press replay on every misstep she's ever made. Even Vogue reportedly passed on an upcoming cover deal that was in early talks before Fashion Week. According to an insider, the energy shifted. After the Balenciaga moment, brands didn't want to risk the backlash. Meghan's name doesn't sell the fantasy anymore. It sells friction, and that's the one thing luxury fashion never wants: friction. Meanwhile, Kristen Scott Thomas, the supposed villain of this viral saga, remained perfectly silent. Not a single word, not even a cryptic post. And that silence? It was devastatingly powerful. Because while Meghan's camp scrambled to control the damage, Kristen's elegant refusal to engage made Meghan's efforts look even more desperate. As one British columnist put it, Kristen didn't have to snub Meghan twice. The internet did the second round for her. Yet, even amid the ridicule, Meghan was planning her next move. Sources claim she's been in talks to produce a Netflix documentary about redefining fame in the modern age. In other words, her side of the story, told with tearful monologues, soft lighting, and inspirational background music. Because if there's one thing Meghan knows, it's how to turn embarrassment into opportunity. Still, people aren't buying it like they used to. The audience that once sympathized with the Duchess now watches her every move with a mix of fascination and fatigue. It's the Meghan cycle, one media analyst said. She plays victim, gains empathy, then overplays her hand. Eventually, everyone gets tired, but perhaps the most chilling moment came a week after the Balenciaga incident when Meghan was photographed leaving a private dinner in West Hollywood, alone. No Harry, no entourage, no red carpet. Just a woman staring straight ahead, her expression unreadable. The photo went viral, too, captioned simply, "The end of the fairy tale." And maybe that's what this moment really symbolizes. Not just a snub at a fashion show, but the slow unraveling of a carefully crafted image. Meghan wanted to re-enter the elite world she left behind, but the world had already moved on. No amount of designer dresses or PR spin could change that. Still, one thing's certain, if history has taught us anything, it's that Meghan Markle never disappears quietly. Whether it's an interview, a podcast, or another headline-grabbing rebrand, she'll find a way back into the spotlight. The only question left is, will anyone still be watching when she does? So what do you think? Lumi Legacy fam, was Meghan Markle truly snubbed by Dame Kristen Scott Thomas? Or was this just another overblown Hollywood misunderstanding that social media turned into a spectacle? Because from where we're sitting, it looks like Meghan tried to make a royal comeback and ended up walking straight into another royal disaster. Drop your thoughts below. Was this payback from the British elite? Or did Meghan just overplay her hand again? Don't forget to hit that like button if you think the Paris Fashion Week saga exposed more than just couture. And make sure you're subscribed to Lumi Legacy for the real tea the tabloids won't spill. Because one thing's for sure, in this story of crowns, couture, and cold shoulders, no one walks away unstained.